Hey cats, EDDBUD here, and today I'm answering questions I've received directly from the channel members. Lots to get through, so let's get to it. Thanks for joining us on the channel, guys. Today I'm answering questions I've received from the channel members. If you'd like to become a member of the channel and help support us here at EDDBUD Running Shoe Reviews, hit that join button below. There's 3 different tiers with various different perks that help you communicate with me and also the channel viewers. Loads of questions, so let's get to it. Peter Wykes asks, how many hours a week do I spend preparing and publishing content? Well, I go on the principle of good recording studio practice. And that means kind of getting it right when I record the material rather than trying to fix it in post-production. Making sure the audio's good, making sure that the clarity of the video's looking half decent. There's not an awful lot I can do about me, I just am what I am. Editing the videos in this manner makes it as fast as possible really, and I get to focus then on the content. The most imperative task of coming up with some of the videos really, Peter, is the script. I like to try and write things out beforehand so I'm not just murmuring on and on for ages. You guys have probably got limited time like me. We've got families, we've got kids, we've got jobs, we've got grass to mow. Just like getting across the points as quickly as I possibly can. So I probably spend about 1 to 3 hours working on a script. I like to think of the ideas perhaps when I'm running and then refine and edit them down to purely what I'm trying to get at. Removing the ums, the ahs, the pauses, just no wasted space. So it's a really refined burst of information, I suppose. Mrs. EDDBUD does help out a lot by doing a lot of things that I should probably be doing. Hope that answers your question, Peter. Long-standing supporter of the channel, Robin, asks for a quick rundown of my most anticipated shoes of 2022. For me, I think it's gotta be the Zoom Fly 5. Never thought I'd say that, but the new version of the Zoom Fly does look really, really good. Could be one of those endorphin speed beaters with stacks of Zoom X scraps and an improved upper fit by the looks of it. The Freedom 5 from Saucony also is exciting the taste buds. After I never got to try out the Freedom 4, I was a bit gutted really. I really wanted to try that one. Seemed like it could be a really great shoe. More like a sort of daily use, very forgiving midsole kind of vibe. They just never released it over here in the UK. I don't know why. I think pairs appeared in Europe and the US maybe, but we didn't get anything here. I'm keen to see how a plateless Prerun PB midsole could work out for me. Just a lower stack Saucony shoe, that one. So yeah, really excited about the Freedom 5. Last up's got to be that Adios Pro 3 from ADIDAS. Looks to be a superb refinement over the previous 2 versions of the shoe. Bags of cushion and overall perhaps a slightly more stable version of the Adi Zero series. There's probably a good 10 or so other shoes I'm really excited about, Robin, but trying to keep it nice and concise this time. Lots I'm very keen to try out, so hope that answers your question, Robin. That's probably the top 3 right now. Sam Clark and Chopperelli 66 both asked about my pre-run exercises and routines. I spend about 10 to 15 minutes pre-run doing some range of motion activities, a little bit of dynamic stretching as well. No kind of static stretching, it's got to be stuff to get me moving. You know, 42 years old now, I feel a little bit like I need some WD-40 in the mornings. I do some work on the back, some yoga poses actually, just to free things up so I'm feeling a little bit more flexible, especially if I'm going out on a morning run. That's really vital. I do focus on some hip mobility as well. That freedom of movement in the hips, I think as somebody that works at a desk quite often, that really does take its toll. I'm a bit of an office lizard, you know, lounging around. The chairs don't tend to do much for me. I think if I had a standing desk, actually, I'd prefer that. Mobility is mandatory for me, really key. A little bit of foam rolling here and there when required, mainly after some of the more tough sessions that I do, and I've kept those shoulder mobility exercises going despite the fact that my shoulder's pretty much fixed now. Freedom of movement's pretty much spot on now. I can do pretty much most things. It's alright. In terms of hydration and energy products, well, I just try and stick to regular old water these days. Although I do forget to keep myself as hydrated as I should do. I need to work on that actually. Green tea as well, and I've tried to cut back the caffeine of recent time as well. I felt a lot better doing that. For gels, I either go with Morton if I'm feeling a bit lavish, but most of the time I prefer the more viscous and watery Science in Sport gels. I think it's the fruit salad flavour is my absolute favourite on that one. I hope that answers your questions, guys. Ozenfant Bactros, I hope I've pronounced that correctly, says, how do I store all my shoes and boxes? Well, I tend to just leave them at room temperature. I try and keep them away from direct sunlight. You don't really want the temperature changing hugely, I think. That seems to do the trick for most of the midsoles. I do try and remove any gunk and grime and debris from the outsole of the shoe, perhaps so I'm not going to be using it for a while, just to keep away any nasty mould. Aside from that, they might get a wash perhaps if they've hit like 100 miles, or I'm going to utilise them for some very specific video. Perhaps if they've got an important appearance coming up, I might give them a bit of a wash, but I don't tend to mess about too much with them. I treat them like tools, a little bit like guitars, I suppose, or maybe a screwdriver, or perhaps painter's overalls or something. They're going to get messy, and when you're testing them, they're designed to do that. You know, they go on your feet at the end of the day to protect your feet. I don't really treat them like a holy grail to be put in a glass case or something. I just find that a bit weird and kind of against the whole design and purpose of the shoe in the first place. JBS asks, what do I do with my old shoes? Is there an ethical way to repurpose them? There's certainly a few that I've relegated to sort of grass cutting and mowing, gardening activities, I suppose. I have given away a few pairs to local runners as well, although nobody seems to be my size around here. And a few to charity shops and homeless clothing drives too. Obviously a carbon plate race shoe's not going to be much use to somebody perhaps who just needs something on their feet. I tend to hang on to some of those carbon plate race shoes, perhaps for some longer term comparisons, or if there's something that simply doesn't work for me, then I'll probably consider selling it on eBay if I haven't done many miles. It's better to sell them to someone that might be able to make use of them rather than me hang on to them for no reason in particular. So maybe only 2 pairs or something that I've sold of recent time. That was the Hoka Carbon X2. That just didn't work for me really. And the Meta Racer, just never really gelled with that one. Get it? Hope that answers your question, JBS. One quick one lastly from Sam Clark. If I could run any race, any distance, anywhere, what would it be? I'd suggest it would probably be the Berlin Marathon. That one is always very fresh in my mind. I think I'd love to visit that city and take on one of the faster major marathons. Conditions probably a little bit closer to what I'm used to here in my home country, and a place of amazing history with incredible future forward thinking as well. So yeah, Berlin Marathon, that would be the one. I mean, I'd love to go to New York and do the marathon there, but I think part of that is wanting to go to all the guitar shops. I'll do another members Q&A video very soon. If you'd like to become a member and get your questions direct to me, do hit that join button and help the channel out. Any support is most appreciated. A film interlude today. I've literally just got back from seeing Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I have to say, very impressed, very, very good watch. I'm not going to give you any spoilers, guys, but do go and check it out if you can very soon. I will say my initial impressions after first viewing, it's probably one of my favourite Marvel films. Certainly a little dark. There's an awful lot happens in this one as well. Just hit the spot for me from so many different perspectives. Absolutely awesome musical soundtrack. You probably already have plans to go and see it, but if you haven't, I suggest you check it out. Thanks for tuning in, guys. It's always appreciated. If you've yet to do so, hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications when we launch the new videos for you. Also, hit that like button and share this video with your running buddies. My name's EDDBUD, and I'll be seeing you